This is officially the most cursed recording we've ever had for the show, right?
Oh, yeah, that's for true.
More things have come up this week to prevent this episode from being recorded.
I think it's a sign.
A sign of what?
A sign that we shouldn't be doing this.
It's too...
the clouds part and a message beams down from the heavens and it just says, give up.
There's no better motivation than that one comment.
Spite.
Spite.
Pure spite.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This week, Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith, which we definitely watched this week. We watched Revenge of the Sith this week. This is the weekend that we watched Revenge of the Sith, and it is definitely the last movie that we watched. Definitely. No time has passed, no extenuating circumstances has prevented us from talking about the movie we just watched, Revenge of the Sith.
It'd be the best comedic timing for her internet to go out again.
Yeah,
right now.
The pause that you
in the
gave
middle
us.
in the middle of that.
I had to think for a second. It was like, I just watched Revenge of the Sith. And so did you, Ben. How is Revenge of the Sith that you just watched?
It was great from what it was great.
It was great, right?
It's great, yeah.
From what you
movie
just
I
watched.
watched this week. I just finished
that movie
it up
you
like
watched
5 minutes ago for sure.
It hasn't this week definitely.
I absolutely didn't just, watch it several days ago.
Definitely didn't watch it last week or anything, and we're definitely recording this on the right weekend. Obviously it's the one you just watched. Chris, how was the watch of the movie you just watched?
I just watched this movie a week and a day ago, and I remember it a lot.
Thank you, Chris.
I watched it with my wife because she's been getting on me about making sure to watch Revenge, let her know when I'm watching Revenge of the Sith because it's the only one she likes and cares about. Because my wife's obsessed with Hayden Christensen. I want it noted I look nothing like Hayden Christensen, so it's just the best way for me to know I am not my wife's type.
Damn. Well, here's an awkward question. Had you started shaving your head when you met Danny?
No, God, no. I trapped her hard. Are you serious? I looked way better when we first started dating. Are you kidding me?
Because I know what your hair looked like when you started shaving your hair. And in that case, you kind of did. You kind of had
I trapped the shit out of her. I looked way better.
You were a Hayden. You are no longer a Hayden.
I had the hair. I look like this is the sad. I say it all the time with the younger people I work with, and this is what an emo kid turns into. This is what we grow into. I look like a lumberjack, but I still dress the same way I did in 2012. So I don't. It's a very confusing thing we got going on here. Jay, how was your watch?
Yeah.
The movie that I definitely just watched that Chris didn't kill the gimmick on for sure. I don't remember.
Business for myself there.
You went into business for yourself. You took it another direction. You definitely went into business for yourself.
I'm hurt and I'm old and I'm fucking tired and I work with fucking children.
Oh, fucking no, man. I watched it a week ago. And I generally watch it earlier in the week than the rest of us. So it's like, I remember having a disassociative episode. That's what I remember. I look at my notes. I have one note before a note that I made as a supplement for another note for someone else. So that's how my watch went. It was Revenge of the Sith, one of the better watches, but it's still watching a Star Wars movie, which is one of the worst watches.
I don't know that my wife will ever watch one of these movies with me again, because I think I just talked and ranted the whole time we were watching it, which I think we do that anyway. Whenever we're watching anything, even if it's the first time we've ever seen it, we're just talking shit the whole time. Up to the movie, not to each other. We're not just heckling each other from,
Yeah, it's not us.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I talked a whole lot, and which I think helped me be more engaged with this watch than I normally am. I think I was paying more attention than I normally do because I was watching it with another person.
That always, whenever I watch with
which
Ben, except the last time we watched Return of the Jedi, because we watched Return of the Jedi together 2 weeks in a row, I always feel like I'm paying more attention.
Yeah, we're always paying a lot of attention when Jason abandoned me.
But that leads me to what I would love to talk about at length today, because for some reason, and I went back through some old episodes to just see if it's something we had touched on, and I couldn't find it. We've talked a whole lot about Palpatine's ridiculous plans that make no sense, and how he's supposedly planned out shit that there's no way he should be able to plan for. For some reason, something hit me real hard this watch that I think it's probably been said in many roundabout ways, but I've never fully said it out loud, and I laughed for probably 20 minutes. This whole war, these 3 movies, like the Clone Wars, all of this, it's literally in the truest possible sense, Palpatine fighting himself in a war.
Yes. Yes.
Palpatine's literally just he is leading both sides of this war. Palpatine is literally just fighting a war with himself. He's a guy who sat down with his fucking Warhammer minis and has just been playing himself in Warhammer. How fucking hilarious is that? How has nobody talked at length about how fucking funny this is?
People have definitely talked at length about it, but I always feel like it came with the caveat of, okay, here's the reason why he did that. He needed to destabilize democracy, and nothing destabilizes democracy more and more. It's also very funny, though.
But it's so fucking funny that he was leading both sides of the war. It's so fucking funny. That's the best bit ever. It's the greatest bit anyone's ever had.
It's also very funny because according to what little I watched of the Clone Wars, a lot of his involvement with leading the Separatists was him just dialing Grievous or dialing Dooku and saying, yes, I want you to go here. And then directing one of the Jedi to go fuck up Grievous and Dooku's life.
Which,
it was literally just
really just, it made the whole, being technically responsible for both sides of a military skirmish, it really just brought back all of George Lucas's George W. Bush comparisons. But, that's...
True. True.
Oh, fuck. I mean, even then, I feel like Dooku had a lot of leeway. I feel like Palpatine, for the most part, was just just make it look good.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then once in a while, he's just like, hey, I have a plan.
It's really defined by what he says to Grievous in this movie, where he's just like, he will take care of you. He doesn't give a fuck. And he's not even trying to hide the fact that he's playing both sides. He's not.
And just the fact that nobody caught on to that. When super weird robed man who has been guiding your army by the fucking hand goes, my apprentice will take care of you. You don't just go, yeah, all right, that sounds cool. No.
And Grievous, I confused the two scenes because he says that to the remainder of the Separatist leaders. But he also says to Grievous, I will have a new apprentice, one far younger and more powerful. And Grievous is isn't at all from where? With who? Where did that come from?
Well, it's something I love, and I think it's just the style of writer that I am, because I feel like putting that line and not immediately having the character that line is being said to, hey man, what does that mean? That's really fucking
That's weird.
Yeah, it was a really weird thing for you to say right now.
Cryptic.
Why are you being so cryptic right now?
When I was a little kid, I used to get really into card games. Obviously, I grew up in the heyday of Pokemon and shit like that. And I played a little bit with people. I got to play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! In, my last years of high school. and I played. They used to do this thing where at Toys R Us, or not. Yeah, it was Toys R Us where they would do like a gym challenge where you could like play against other people. But other than that, I never really got to play. So I would just play against myself. And eventually playing against myself wasn't good enough, so I had to create a new card game with every card game that I had. So I would literally sit there and make a card game and then play it against myself. And that's Palpatine. Palpatine not only is playing the game against himself, he has redefined the rules so that only he knows how it makes sense and then played it.
You ever been so bad at a game you're trying to play by yourself that you lose to yourself? I have.
Isn't that just like most games of solitaire?
Yeah. I should have played solitaire way more as a kid. It really would have set me up for the disappointment of life in general.
Solitaire, the Solitaire, the temperament of life. Chris got himself so hard with that comment. He got himself so hard.
I just, oh man. Now sometimes I just hear what everybody else hears, and it's like, oh yeah, okay.
Well, Revenge of the Sith, the movie we definitely just watched a week ago, and this is not a double recording weekend. Why don't we go get someone else's opinion on good old Revenge of the Sith?
But Jay, whosoever would we ask?
Why, Roger Ebert, of course.
Roger Ebert,
who has a review of Revenge of the Sith called Dark Side Shadows, quotation, Sith, quotation, which I don't know. Oh, Dark Side Shadows Sith. That is the name of it. That is the name of the thing that we are dealing with on this day. I understand now, Mr. Ebert. It's a 3.5-star review, so the same review number as Phantom Menace, but better than Attack.
Is this is that out of 5?
Yes.
So my man really just looked at these last 2 movies and went, yeah, no, they technically exist as movies.
No, he gave Attack of the Clones 2. He gave Attack of the Clones a 2. So he very clearly has one he deeply dislikes.
It's just giving this movie 3.5 stars makes me so curious what the rest of like what the OT is rated as.
Possible spoilers for the next 3 weeks of Star Wars. If I remember correctly, he was very, very generous to the OT. So that might be spoilers. It might not be spoilers. Who knows?
When did Roger Ebert pass away? Was he able to review the sequel trilogy?
I do not believe he was. I don't know if I'm going to do. He died on April 4th, 2013. So I don't know if I'm gonna do the reviews of the sequel trilogy because they are on his website, but they are done by someone else. I feel like the draw is Roger Ebert. So
yeah. The powers
George
that
Lucas
be saw Rise of Skywalker on the horizon and went, we can't put him through this.
I like that you just referred to as some heavenly entity as the powers that be. That is truly...
I'm agnostic as shit. I don't know what to tell you.
I am agnostic to an extent as well, but there's something so grim about referring to...
Yeah.
George Lucas comes full circle in more ways than one in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which is the 6th, and allegedly, but not necessarily the last, of the Star Wars movies. After Episode 2 got so bogged down in politics that it played like the Republic covered by C-SPAN, Episode 3 is a return to the classic space opera style that launched the series. Because the story leads up to where the original Star Wars began, we get to use the immemorial movie phrase, "This is where we came in." That Anakin Skywalker abandoned the Jedi and went over to the dark side is known to all students of Star Wars. That his twins, Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia, would redeem the family name is also known. What we discover in Episode 3 is how and why Anakin lost his way. How a pleasant and brave young man was transformed into a dark cloaked figure with a fearsome black metal face. I don't know if you could describe him as pleasant. Pleasant, definitely not. Brave, sure. Pleasant, maybe not.
Bearable, sure. Not pleasant.
I don't know if bearable is. I definitely have trouble bearing Anakin Skywalker at this point. As Yoda sadly puts it in his inimitable word order, the boy you trained, gone is he, consumed by Darth Vader. As Episode 3 opens, Anakin Skywalker and his friend Obi-Wan Kenobi, once again leaving out the actors because we know at this point, are piloting fighter craft, staging a daring two-man raid to rescue Chancellor Palpatine. He has been captured by the rebel Gen Grievous. For some reason, he brought General Grievous down to Gen Grievous. It's a weird punctuation considering he said full General Patton last review when referring to the movie General Patton.
He only respects
Gen Grievous.
Non-fictionalized generals.
Gen Z Grievous.
Oh, God.
Gen Z Grievous. I feel like there's a joke there.
Dances.
Is General Grievous in Fortnite? That feels like something that's probably already happened.
Probably.
I know Vader is. Fortnite just
as we established
all.
previously. I've only played Fortnite twice, so I don't know.
I've never played Fortnite, and every time I think of Fortnite, I think of that Fortnite Batman meme. That's all I know about Fortnite. He has been captured by Rebel Gen Grievous, whose voice, by Matthew Woods, sounds curiously wheezy, considering the General seems to use replacement parts. In the spirit of all Star Wars movies, the rescue sequence flies in the face of logic, since the two pilots are able to board Grievous's command ship and proceed without much trouble to the ship's observation tower, where the Chancellor is being held. There is a close call in an elevator shaft, but where are the guards in the security system? And why, for that matter, does a deep space cruiser need an observation tower when every porthole opens onto the universe? But never mind. That feels very 2009 YouTube review-y, and I don't like that. Or it sounds like us, but we've been doing this for 13 goddamn rotations. So we have an excuse.
God, what would be really funny is if we discovered in like a few years someone finds like a secret cache of like Roger Ebert fan fictions.
Oh, that would be so great.
Just the way he talks about this really makes me feel like he wrote some fan fiction in his day.
At the risk of writing fan fiction, we find out that Roger Ebert was writing fan fiction through AO3 tags at the SWAO3 tags on Twitter. We find out that was in fact Roger Ebert that has done a few of those tags. What do you think? What do you think Roger Ebert is writing fan fiction? Do you think he's writing some kind of ship? Do you think he's just writing really sad solo pieces like Yagoil?
Yeah, he was a big fan of Obi-Wan Anakin.
He's the only AO3 General Patton fan fiction writer.
He's writing fan fiction about General Patton.
Back within the sphere of the Jedi Council, Anakin finds that despite his heroism, he will not yet be named the Jedi Master. The Council distrusts Palpatine and wants Anakin to spy on him. Palpatine wants Anakin to spy on the Council. Who to choose? McDermott has the most complex role in the movie as he plays on Anakin's wounded ego. Anakin is tempted to go over to what is not yet clearly the dark side. In a movie not distinguished for its dialogue, Palpatine is insidiously snaky in his persuasiveness.
Is he? That was one of the things I ranted to my wife about during this watch was like, he's just straight, like the fucking opera scene when he's like talking about Plagueis. It's like only a brain dead moron would not understand the subtext of this conversation.
Yeah.
Which is it's a good thing he was talking to Anakin in that scene, you know.
Jeez.
Well, if we're gonna, am I gonna be this? Yeah, I'm gonna be this petty. Only a moron would not understand the subtext of that particular scene. So obviously J.J. Abrams misunderstood the subtext of this scene and used it in order to create Palpatine coming back in Rise of Skywalker. So, you know, that's the pettiest thing I've ever done on this show. But no, obviously, like, it's obvious what he's doing.
I feel like if we had a bigger audience, there would 100% be a compilation video in like 2 weeks of like you saying that and then just clips of you being way pettier throughout the history of this show.
I think it would just be a super cut of us bringing up Give Up.
Probably.
I don't know if we mentioned this because we're definitely recording it the weekend that we're supposed to.
Definitely.
And to be very clear, since Chris killed the gimmick anyway, we watched it the right week. It's just the recording didn't happen till now. A week. Definitely the right week. Y'all really... I didn't expect the biggest thing we'd ever do on YouTube to be...
Yeah.
to be what it was.
I was at work when you sent that message. And I audibly went, looking at that notification. Because seeing the numbers on that video, it was like, no way. No fucking way. This? Like, it's a great video, but also fucking absurd that is the highest viewed video on our channel now.
And that would be... I'm having trouble remembering the name of the detective show that I like very much, so help me.
Don't tell her.
Help me, please. Help me. All that keeps coming to mind is MacGyver. Help me, please. Save me. I've watched so many clips. Ben can attest that I was watching clips of this show the last time I stayed at his house.
Actually, I know I made it pretty
yes.
clear. Like, you know, Ben, don't tell her. But also, I'd be very curious to know if Ben also remembers right now.
I think I do.
See, when I made that clip that I definitely remember the show.
I'm like 78% sure I remember.
When I made that clip, I was I was sure it would get some traction. Because Columbo,
yeah. Columbo.
There you go. She got it.
I definitely didn't cheat. So when I made that clip, I knew that Columbo was like a good meme format like a year ago. So I was like, okay, I like the Columbo joke because Ben apparently can't attest, but I thought he could attest that I was literally watching Columbo jokes in his living room around 4 weeks ago.
The memory of...
Well...
A goldfish is a terrible comparison because goldfish probably have better memories than me.
But I was like, all right, this is funny to me. I'm going to put it together and then I'll do a solo clip for our 2-year anniversary. And then it, by our standards, blew up. And I'm like, I expected that, like, it got to the point where nobody in our Discord, like between the three of us, was reacting to it. I'm like, all right, this is a passion project at this point. I just really think it's funny. And then it blew up, and I was like, that's deeply satisfying and also very horrifying. So it came from Columbo Takes on Kotar. Hi, how you doing?
Yeah. It's a hell of a place to jump in.
Yeah.
Like,
it is an entry point.
Is that like... It must have been the first one of our videos that actually ended up on people's like recommended page or something.
I forget. The analytics were weird. YouTube analytics are weird when you try to look at them within like the first couple days. They don't really tell a good story of what's happening. So I don't know. As Chris depressingly reminded me, that blew up, but it didn't blow up as much as me being able to pronounce words.
No,
for several minutes in a row.
If I could get into our TikTok account, I would let you know the current views on that, but last I checked, it was like 800 and something.
I know for a fact it hit 900. Beyond that, who knows? The way Anakin approaches his choice, however, moving past my greatest failure, has a certain poignancy. Anakin has a rendezvous with Padme, Natalie Portman. I don't know why I said Natalie Portman when I said I wasn't going to bring up actors when they get brought up. But hey, shout out Natalie Portman. they were secretly married in the previous film, and now she reveals she is pregnant. His reaction is that of a nice kid in a teenage comedy, trying to seem pleased while wondering how this will affect the other neat stuff he gets to do. That's not the vibe I got, but that's very funny.
Oh, man.
That's definitely not what the story's trying to say, but that's way funnier than what the
Roger
story's
Ebert
trying to say.
hates Anakin Skywalker.
Gee, I wonder why.
Can you really blame him?
I mean,
I hate Anakin Skywalker. Fucking scumbag. To say that George Lucas cannot write a love scene is an understatement. Greeting cards have expressed more passion.
incredible. So
That's
good.
great.
God, that's so good.
Oh, I'm going to fight real hard for greeting cards have expressed more passion to be the name of this episode. The dialogue throughout the movie is once again its weakest point. The characters talk in what sounds like basic English, without color, wit, or verbal delight, as if they were channeling Berlitz. The exceptions are Palpatine and, of course, Yoda, whose speech reminds me of Welcott Gibbs' famous line about the early style of Times Magazine. Backward ran sentences until reeled the mind. In many cases, the actors are being filmed in front of blue screens, with effects to be added later, and sometimes the readings are so flat they don't seem to believe they're really in the middle of amazing events. How can you stand in front of exploding starfleets and sound as if you're talking on a cell phone at Starbucks? He's worried about you, Anakin is told at one point. You've been under a lot of stress. Sometimes the emphasis in sentences is misplaced. During the elevator adventure in the opening rescue, we hear, "Did I miss something?" when it should be, "Did I miss something?" I don't know what he was going for there. But he's right, like, throughout all three of these prequel movies, the emphasis is very strange.
It is, yeah, there's a weird cadence to some of the
And
most of the deliveries.
I gotta be honest, I blame a lot of that on George, because I've seen the way George directs, and
Well,
he will
yes.
literally...
That's the sort of thing that, like, someone probably just makes a small mistake on, and then the director is there to come in and go, no, say it like this. And
But
we
it's
know
the
that
opposite with
George,
George.
well, that's the thing. That makes it worse, because George is the one so specifically telling them how to do stuff, and he's telling it to them wrong.
If you don't know, and granted, I'm taking this out of context of every time I've ever seen George Lucas interact with Hayden Christensen on set in prequel behind-the-scenes stuff, so it's obviously not the full picture. But based on what I've seen, he will talk to an actor, say their lines, and block them through it, telling them how to do their job. And it's very annoying. And I do blame some of this on that. Because I have a hard time believing that Ewan McGregor would say some of these lines the way he says these lines if he was just left to his own devices. I have a hard time believing that. The dialogue is not the point, however. Lucas's characters engage in sturdy oratorical pronunciamentos. I don't know what any of those two words mean. Oratorical pronunciamentos, and then leap into adventure. Okay, I'm sorry, Roger. You went to whatever for me. Episode 3 has more action per square minute, I'd guess, than any of the previous 5 movies, and it is spectacular. The special effects are more sophisticated than in the earlier movies, of course, but not necessarily more effective. The dogfight between fighters in the original Star Wars and the dogfight that opens this one differ in their complexity, and many more ships this time, more planes of action, more detailed backgrounds. But not in their excitement. And although Lucas has his characters attend a futuristic opera that looks like a cross of Cirque de la Soul and an ultrasound scan of an unborn baby.
That's the greatest fucking line in a review of all time.
Just because it deserves... That's why I had to stop.
Fuck.
At first it was because I was making sure I was pronouncing it right. But then I saw the next thing and it was like... And although Lucas has his characters attend a futuristic opera that looks like a cross between Circus de la Soul and an ultrasound scan of an unborn baby, if you regard the opera hall simply as a place, it's not as engaging as the saloon on Tatooine in the first movie. Whew. This is the harshest 3.5-star review I think I've ever seen. The lesson, I think, is that special effects should be judged not by their complexity, but by the degree that they simulate the imagination. And episode 3 is distinguished not by how well the effects are done, but how amazingly they are imagined. It's really interesting, by the way. In Phantom Menace, a lot of what he talked about, I believe his line was, I believe he told an anecdote about the story where, you know, you only see the stars once in 100 years and people would go mad from it in regards to CGI and how it was very dismissive of like critiques of it. Now he's like, fuck this shit, man. I'm so tired of it.
Is this review the reason George Lucas stopped making movies?
I doubt it. He was already kind of like, yeah, I'm done after this. If you go back to his interviews during this period, he's very snippy in a way that he's just like, I'm done. I'm good. And then he tried to make smaller films, and then he just didn't anymore, except for whatever's in his garage right now.
God, I want access to whatever is in George Lucas's garage so badly.
I really hope there's just an order that as soon as I go, release these movies. A climactic duel on a blazing volcanic planet is as impressive in its line as anything in Lord of the Rings. And Yoda, who began life as a Muppet but is now completely animated, like about 70% of what we see on screen, was to begin with and still is the most lifelike and non-humanoid Star Wars character. A word, however, about the duels fought with lightsabers. When they flashed into life with a mighty whizzing thunk in the first Star Wars and whooshed through their parabolas, that was exciting. But the thrill is gone. The duelists are so well matched that saber fights go on forever before anyone is wounded, and I'm still not sure how the sabers seem able to shield their bearers from attack. When it comes to the great movie sword fights, Liam Neeson and Tim Roth took home the gold medal in Rob Roy, and the lightsaber battles in episode 3 are more like isometrics. These are all, however, more observations than criticisms. George Lucas has achieved what few artists do. He has created and populated a world of his own. His Star Wars movies are among the most influential, both technically and commercially, ever made. And they are fun. If he got bogged down in the solemnity and theory in Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, the Force is in a jollier mood this time, and Revenge of the Sith is great entertainment. No. I said this is not necessarily the last of the Star Wars movies. Although Lucas has absolutely said he is finished with the series, it is not inconceivable to me that 20th Century Fox will willingly abandon the franchise, especially as Lucas has hinted that parts 7, 8, and 9 exist at least in his mind. There will be enormous pressure for them to be made, if not by him, then by his deputies. So...
Foreshadowing.
Anybody that says
foreshadowing, but foreshadowing.
Anybody that says 10, 11, and 12 won't happen, I point you back to Roger Ebert's little note there. It's absolutely gonna happen. This shit will never end. As long as the human race still meanders on, we will have fucking Star Wars.
It's going to happen forever. Just fuck us is what's going to happen. I mean, it's literally going to just be the fuck us. Because the universe, as we've established, the universe is not kind to us generally. And I feel like
just a very specific mood in the Star Wars Every Week Forever offices this week.
Just to fuck us, there's going to be so many more of these movies. We're going to get up to like 20.
I'm just sitting here trying to think, like, if they stick to this and we get one trilogy every 10 years, realistically, we're going to get at least 6 more movies. Realistically, probably about 6 more movies. Oh, but that's Roger Ebert. It was very interesting to go down this journey because I know that he's... Spoilers, I know that he's very kind to the original Star Wars movies.
It doesn't surprise me that he was. I mean...
I just enjoy Roger Ebert being biting more.
Yeah. I feel like the OT ones are not going to be nearly as fun.
No. There's so many good quotes in these, and that's what I love about Roger Ebert. So thank you, Roger Ebert. Rest in peace. Thank you for taking up 15 minutes every week. But yeah, that's Roger Ebert on George Lucas. One thing is consistent. He thinks he's a dog shit writer of dialogue.
I mean, to be fair, that's not really a revelation.
No.
Not to knock Roger Ebert. That's not.
I think that's
No.
just a fact. Like it's a very well-known fact by anyone who's ever encountered a George Lucas movie.
Chris,
Yeah.
I believe you found something this week.
Oh yeah, I really so badly want to talk about this BTS video I found about the production of the Super Battle Droids, because it's truly given me my favorite fucking George Lucas quote ever. Hold on, I don't.
I have an idea of where this is going.
I have the video.
It may have been brought up. I don't know for sure, but it might not have. But I know where it's going.
I put it in the Discord so Ben at least can experience this. Very much like the Adam Driver cologne commercial. Ben, I'd like you to experience this.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's very good. I laughed very hard earlier watching this video.
Showed me the side view and it looked really, really cool. I was like, wow, that's great. Then he showed me the front view and we realized we had to redesign his crotch area because it looked like he had a big something hanging between his legs.
Give me a stop for a second. Yeah. I don't know when this is painted. Go forward. This little appendage looks unfortunate. I hadn't noticed that. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
I love the way he describes it, where he's like, he's got this big and he just makes hand motions.
And you could tell that George was clearly I don't want to talk about this because it's not in the original special features. It's in the Blu-ray special features in 2011.
And he's like, we got to do something about this little appendage. And he's just like, that's unfortunate. That's my favorite the look on his face when he says it and him just be, it's unfortunate. It's fucking hilarious. I lost it. I fucking lost it.
I've seen a lot of that room too. That's where the Widowmaker series of clips happen, where Yoda's ears become such a contentious point in what George wants out of those people that they start calling it the Widowmaker.
Well, I just it made me think again, we've said it before, making fun of poor Georgie boy, based upon the dialogue and how the Padme and Anakin relationship works. George Lucas just doesn't know how sex works, so that's why he's so uncomfortable. And he's like, this is unfortunate. We need to do something about this. I don't want to talk about it. Just fix it.
George Lucas knows the least about sex of someone that has 3 kids.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think it's 3 kids. I know he has 2 for sure. But yeah, big old swinging funny. Super Battle Droid dicks.
So funny. I want to know, because it's pretty... I know George has a lot of weird design. The Yoda ears are a perfect example, but that design choice is hilarious. And the fact that someone designed that and then nobody caught it until they were doing the walking animation is very funny to me.
And even then they didn't catch it until they were showing it to George.
Yeah. God.
Do you think if I go to the dark corners of the internet, I will find someone that saw this clip one day and was inspired?
I don't think I think someone was inspired long before they saw this clip, Jay. I think that's just Rule 34. What are you talking about? I don't think this clip was required.
For them to sexualize the Super Battle Droids.
Yeah. If you go, I guarantee if I open my Reddit app right now, there is a Star Wars Rule 34 subreddit, and I guarantee that is one of the first things that I see.
How do you know about this specific subreddit?
No, I said I guarantee that there is a Star Wars Rule 34 subreddit, and
I
guarantee that
the way you worded that, it sounded like
the way
you
worded it
knew of this subreddit already.
It's a subreddit that I know I've subscribed to.
Look, Reddit, there's a subreddit for everything, and if there's not a Star Wars Rule 34 subreddit or something to that effect that exists, I would be shocked. I would bet good money.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't bet against you there.
I'm not a betting
man,
man,
for taking bets.
But I would take that bet in a heartbeat. You kidding me?
I'm not a betting woman, but I will take a good bet when I see it. Like the bet that I won that Skyrim guy ended up in Smash, and it just took me 4 years to get the money off that one, but I did get it.
There we go.
Cut.
Oh, Chris is hi. Welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever, and then look to see what scenes created Rule 34 porn.
Let's see. Oh,
Chris, no.
that's a lot. That's a lot going on there. Wow.
Chris, stop. Pull the plug.
Pull the plug. Stop it!
Oh.
Stop it! Stop it!
Oh no.
You just. I need everybody to know that Chris
Flinching
just like
live on Skype.
flinched backwards and then moved his hand towards his phone to get it out of his vision. Why are you still looking at your phone now?
No, I'm clearing it. Okay, goodbye. Oh. Oof. Oof.
Your wife in a few days is just gonna be like, honey, why?
My eyes. My eyes. My eyes. My good Christian eyes.
Bless you.
My good Christian eyes.
Well, as we've established, this is a good
It's a
Christian
good
show.
Christian podcast.
It's a good Christian
it's a
podcast,
good Christian podcast.
that we looked at Rule 34 on.
we
What are you
can
talking
finally-
about?
We can cross something off the podcast bingo board. We've now gone through.
We looked at Star Wars Rule 34.
Oh, I'm not proud of it. Not proud of that.
And here I thought like AO3 tags was gonna be what skirted the edge of that, not like, episode 3 special features.
No, listen. I'm gonna stand up for Archive of Our Own here. Archive of Our Own, distinctly more professional in terms of porn than Rule 34.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not
I
saying-
just thought AO3 was what was gonna get us there. Not, this random ass special feature of episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a problem with fan fiction, but it's just like there's a tendency.
There's a tendency.
For a
I
long
mean-
time, like I don't read fan fiction. For a long time, I had a pretty negative opinion of fan fiction.
Me too.
I don't necessarily have a negative opinion of it now. I've softened a bit, but I do sometimes wonder what these people could be doing if they were writing
Well,
anything else, like
I'm gonna be the defense squad here. This might be because I'm a big believer that we're just gonna go into it on the podcast. I'm a big believer that copyright law shouldn't exist, and if it does, it should be like a 20-year period, and then it goes into the public domain. I hate copyright law. I think copyright law is bullshit. Shout out the weird Winnie the Pooh horror movie. I'm a big fan. It looks fucking awful. It should have never been made. I'm glad it's out there. So I'm a big defender of like fan fiction writers. Like, if you are attracted to well, let me rephrase. If you think you can do good work with a character and write something wonderful with a character, go for it. I guarantee you, like 75% of Archive of Our Own is just, it's not necessarily sex. It's literally just fan
no,
fiction.
100%, and it's 100% just fan fiction. And like I said, this isn't my current opinion of fan fiction. This is kind of how I used to think of, like, look, you could be writing your own stuff and doing, but like I've definitely softened on it now. If you enjoy writing fan fiction, go for it. I've seen some incredible fan fiction. Like I have seen some really good stuff out there, and
the unfortunate truth is the internet age made everything that you write that isn't something you created fan fiction, and I feel like there should be a distinction between I want to write as, I don't know, a character from Game of Thrones. I want to write their perspective in a new story. That's just writing. It's just writing and a thing you don't own. Whereas I want to write this specific Game of Thrones character getting fucked. That, I think, is the better description of fan fiction.
So what I'm saying is, like, that's how I used to think about fan fiction. That lens has now moved to the people who are making the Rule 34 stuff, because, like, just from an art perspective, it's like,
why
you clearly have artistic ability. Why is this what you're doing with it? This is what you've chosen to. You're using your power for evil.
Then again, every time, to be fair and balanced, TMCR. Every time that I see a painting that is just porn from like the 18th century, I'm like, fuck yeah, great job. So maybe I should just like.
Fair. That is fair. And look, not for nothing, these people are making money off of it a lot of the time. These people have
It's usually
Patreons and
decent
shit,
money,
and like
yeah.
good money, yeah. Like, so
Hi,
I
welcome to Three Millennials
guess
Explain.
I'm just.
Hey,
I
I
am
ain't a
Internet.
millennial.
All right, Gen Zer.
I
This is
take
the
You are,
only time where you've proudly stated that you're a Gen Zer.
Yeah, you are on like the tail end of that, aren't you, bud?
No, I've always railed hard against being called a millennial. Like, Fox News has killed that label.
You also rail hard against being a Gen Zer.
Oh, I don't. I wear that with
Ben, I've known you for 6 years. You do.
Ah.
I'm pretty sure
You
I
can-
said something to the effect of you being Gen Z on a podcast episode at one
Yes.
point, and you
No,
got slightly
shush,
annoyed.
Shush,
You have
shush.
you have
Chris,
gaslit
don't do
yourself
this to
into
me.
thinking that this is not the
Don't-
case. Yeah,
don't gaslight
there is
me. What are you
public
doing? Yeah,
podcast. Well, don't you fucking gaslight us, you little shit.
Let me rebrand, all right?
Let me please.
Ben's rebrand. We're 100 episodes in. Ben needs a rebrand. Fuck. What do I want my rebrand to be? I don't know what
What's
my
your
current brand is. What's my rebrand if I don't even know my current brand?
I mean, your current brand is Stoner, Chris. You've embraced
yeah.
it.
I mean, even that was a rebrand, I think.
Yeah,
I didn't
it
start
was a
the
rebrand.
podcast that way.
I am rebranding as Columbo gal. I'm gonna go in the future. I'm just going full in on Columbo. I'm gonna grab our brand, and our brand is Columbo.
I thought our brand was Misery.
I mean, there's a
You
certain
ever
amount
sat
of
through a
misery in
full
Columbo
episode?
episodes. By the way, Columbo, very, very, very good show. No, don't you fucking dare. We won't talk about this because I think it's a great show and I've seen a lot recently.
What I mean by you ever sat through a full episode of Columbo? There absolutely is misery there. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, the misery in Columbo is unfortunately Columbo's a great character, but also there's a lot of that straight white I hate my wife energy.
Oh God.
But it's also a show from the 70s, so although they do pick some of the worst actors that Columbo could possibly play out of. Shout out William Shatner is one of the worst episodes of television I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Hey, can I complain about something else? We're really far into this recording. We've talked a lot about Star Wars today.
We have.
Something's gone wrong. Talked about so much Star Wars on the Star Wars podcast today.
We can thank
We do.
Roger Ebert for that.
Thank you, Roger Ebert.
Thank you, Roger Ebert. We got to thank Roger Ebert so we don't go back to Hellcourt. Chris, you had something.
No, I had nothing. I was just bitching that we've talked too much about Star Wars.
That's what it was.
That was it. I don't have anything
You
in
just
particular.
want.
I mean, hey, look, 6 weeks ago, in the past, today, the Lucasfilm Marvel D23 conference happened.
Oh. Yeah, I guess.
Basically,
Andor
Racing?
was
just nothing. Just nothing.
Andor was a trailer that released, and it was fine. I disassociated during it. I have already learned about Andor. If I was going to watch it, I'd be watching it for Mon Mothma because this trailer was very Andor heavy, and I like Andor, but I was way more interested in the shit they were doing with Mon Mothma in the original trailer.
Breaking news: Tales of the Jedi might as well have just been fucking called Tales of Two Jedi. Because it's 6 episodes, and 3 of them are about Dooku, 3 of them are about Ahsoka.
I'm so pissy
It's like,
about...
let's do an anthology series, and not.
Then call it something else. Christ. Pisses me off so much.
It's also going to be annoying, really fucking annoying, if it's done in a way where it's like every other episode. That's going to be really fucking annoying.
It pisses me off so much that they decided that they were going to call it Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off. And it has the same fucking logo, too. Like, you sit here and you tell me that those shows wouldn't look fucking cool as fuck.
Well, and it's the Dooku stuff could be interesting, but like and I love Ahsoka. Ahsoka's truly at this point one of my favorite characters in current Star Wars canon.
It's
I don't need more of Ahsoka, especially considering there's a live action series coming, and this stuff is just going to be basically stuff that it's deleted scenes from Clone Wars.
It's just It's an uninspired decision,
You could have
especially
done
when
so
they have an
much
Ahsoka
cool
show
shit.
coming.
Yeah.
We could have finally gotten an episode set in the High Republic, so we could have gotten something in animation of the High Republic, other than just books and comics at this point. Like, you could have done an Old Republic story. You could have done fucking God, you could have done one with Cal. There's so many options. You could have done just brand new Jedi set in various points in time. Like
It's just like there's a lot you can do with the original Tales of the Jedi.
God, give us a
Like-
fucking Plagueis story finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot you can do with the original Tales of the Jedi. And it would be some of the characters that you would make in that show would be some of the most brilliant, like, practical effects that you can do in 2022. Because I don't think they would focus on CGI and a lot of that. And I think, I don't know, man. I just think there's a lot
I'm fine with Tales from the Jedi being animated. Like, I don't have a problem with it being an animated series.
Oh, I missed that.
No, I don't have a problem with it being animated at all.
Well, now I'm more pissed off because that means they literally had no reason not to just make Tales of the
That's what I'm
Jedi.
saying. They could have
Tales
done
of the Jedi.
No, I mean the thing I'm most like, it's not even like pissed off. It's more just like the why with a capital W. This fucking Skeleton Crew show or movie, whatever the fuck it is. Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I am actually a little pissed off about this Tales thing. I don't
Like-
have a problem with what they're doing with it. It's just don't call it that.
Star Wars is in a weird point right now where there's only a few properties that are like a thing with a consistent story. Like why would you do this weird instead of doing something new or something even with characters that we've seen already? Why are they doing a kids from the real world get sucked into Star Wars world story? It's bad. It's bad. It's gonna be bad. Fucking
Yeah.
Jude Law.
Fucking shit.
They saw the, no, you know what it was? They saw the popularity of Stranger Things and they went, oh, we want that, but for Star Wars.
I want a stranger thing than Stranger Things. Yeah, probably. It was probably a very calculated decision.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't think there's anything that Disney does that isn't a very calculated decision.
I'm just.
Except for,
I know
making storyboards apparently for fucking
I mean,
very
look,
expensive movies.
going back to Tales from the Jedi for a second, would have been a great time to give us a young Kylo story. Would have been a great time to give us a Rey story.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to
Yeah.
distance themselves from the sequel characters at this point.
Yeah,
I'm
but that's
sure they are,
cowardice.
but yeah, cowards, what are you doing?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You've made your
'Cause
bed,
it's
now
like-
lie in it.
Half the reason why Clone Wars is so well regarded is because they just fucking doubled and tripled down. Because Clone Wars was not well received at the start. It was not well received a few seasons in. But eventually, it was so fucking good that it didn't matter anymore. And the prequel era got normalized because they just kept making content for it. Now, the books got away from it a little bit. But that's
Like-
part of the reason why almost all of the Clone Wars era books were thrown out of canon because it was just like there's more important canon happening in television.
Well, and it
That's
shows
cowardice.
too that like they got so close to having a good idea with Tales from Jedi because like when I saw the initial like announcement, it was like, oh shit, that's Dooku and that's young Qui-Gon. That's gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited for that episode. Oh, and then
Where's
today it was like,
Chewbacca?
oh, it's 3 episodes. And I was like, oh, it's 3 of 6 episodes. Uh-oh.
Whereas if I don't see the Wookiee Jedi with the weird lightsaber, I'm gonna be pissed.
Well, no, hey, we got our first look at Yaddle in it today.
Oh,
Yaddle is
Yaddle's gonna
trending.
be in it.
Is Yaddle trending
I think
again?
Yaddle.
Is Yaddle trending?
I think Yaddle was trending at some point today because
Yaddle was trending?
I think Yaddle was in fact trending today.
Oh, Yaddle was trending.
What a world we live in.
God.
You know, if Yaddle's gonna be in that, we're gonna find out that Yaddle is Baby Yoda's mom, right?
Stop.
You know it's gonna happen.
You leave Grogu alone.
Don't.
Don't you can tell me don't all you want, but you
Don't.
know there's a not small possibility it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but like, Oh God. Oh God. Would that even make yeah, it would make sense, I guess. God damn it.
I don't think it would.
No, it would. Because the
Yoda
kid could
fucks, dude.
the kid could be any age. I mean, like the
Well,
kid's like
kid's
50,
50 in yeah.
which takes place after A New Hope. Yaddle could have had a kid at any point
Right.
before
So
that.
Baby Yoda, Grogu would have been. I'm always going to refer to him as Baby Yoda because I'm never going to watch The Mandalorian. That is not to say anything about his quality. I'm just not going
I
to.
just refuse to call him Grogu more than anything else.
So Baby Yoda was like 30 when the Fall of the Republic happened.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And we know it was at the Jedi Temple.
it's just time to accept. Yoda fucks, dude.
Nah. I refuse.
Weird Wikipedia.
Oh, that's a thing that I do. Yeah, Weird Wikipedia is a segment that exists.
See? Do you see the?
That's the closest
YouTube
Weird Wikipedia has ever gotten to like an intro.
No, other than that time where Ben tried to put a weird intro on it and just started laughing because he got forklift and forklift. I thought that was going to be the one that blew up, by the way. And I'm kind of glad it didn't because now I have a new appreciation for that clip.
Well, now, can we talk about that again real quick before we go into Weird
Sure.
Wikipedia? Because the funniest fucking thing to me, I said it to my wife at one point, like the funniest thing to me about one of our videos doing a crazy amount of traffic, at least for our usual numbers, and then none of our other videos going up in views.
I mean, they did, but not to an extent where it's noteworthy.
But it's so funny to me because when people watch that video and then either A, when I'm never watching anything else from this channel ever again, or briefly looked at other stuff and went, nope.
Thank you for 30 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah. Any of you who are still here, hello. I'm sorry.
Hello.
Hello, I'm sorry. So today on Weird Wikipedia we have Lorvo Dorigo, which is
Love a
such a Star
Dorito?
Wars, such a Star Wars name.
What am I looking at right now?
Is a
You're
male
looking at Lorvo
Aqualish.
Dorigo.
What am I looking at?
A male Aqualish of Lothal, who was rescued
This-
by.
I don't even
Pause.
know what this is.
You can read the
Recon
rest of the
missions.
bio if you want, but go ahead, read the rest of the bio.
Oh.
He's just a random Aqualish from Rebels.
He's from
That's pretty much it.
No, he's not from Rebels.
No,
Ben, he's
Oh?
from Star Wars Rebels Recon Missions, which is a
This-
mobile game.
Oh
Look-
God.
Lorvo Dorigo looks like a cell phone app visual novel character. That's the kind of level of design that he has, and also he doesn't have the little tusk thing, bottom thing, so it just looks like he's got two balls more than
I
ever.
need to, because this Wikipedia page is nothing.
Tiny.
I need to
Minuscule.
now
Yeah.
move on to the Wikipedia page for this shitty mobile game. Star Wars Rebels Recon Missions is a mobile game developed by Gigatar and published by Disney Interactive, featuring characters, locations, and technology from the Star Wars Rebels television series. The game was released on March 26, 2015 for iOS, Android, and Windows devices. It was announced in July 2016 that the app would cease operations at the end of the month. This fucking mobile game made it a year and a couple months.
One guy at the back of Disney Interactive kept the servers running, looked at it, and said, yeah, we have about the amount of viewers as a Star Wars Every Week Forever episode played in this game. Maybe it's time to turn the plug. Maybe it's time to say goodbye here, and I can move on to something better to do.
Oh my
with
god,
my
hold
job.
on. There's the actual summary of the game from the iOS store. Rebels Wanted. Are you ready to stand up against the Empire? Become an
No.
intergalactic hero in Star Wars Rebels Recon Missions. New action platformer mobile game. Yuck. Take on 4, in all caps, free levels of battle against the Empires as Ezra Bridger, dodge TIE fighters, blast stormtroopers, drive an Imperial AT-MP. With in-app purchases, wield a lightsaber, fight Star Wars bosses,
With
drive an AT-DP, and unlock 30 more levels and 50 plus unique challenges. I wonder
You
why
want a
this game didn't do
lightsaber?
well.
Pay me, bitch.
We'll give you 4 levels, and then you pay. I guarantee it was individual levels from real money.
Here's 4 levels with just a shitty blaster, and you don't get a lightsaber until you pay me.
Wonder why this game didn't do well.
Jeez, wonder. After the tutorial where the Spectres investigate a mine, they form a secret hideout known as Haven. From there, they launch a series of missions to disrupt Imperial forces and rescue lawful citizens. There's also an opening crawl that's noted here. It is a dark time, the Jedi are no more, and the Empire rules the galaxy with an iron fist, bringing tyranny out to the outer rim world of Lothal. Their ominous presence is a cloud over the planet, squashing any hope of freedom or a better life, especially for 14-year-old orphan Ezra Bridger. But the young con artist soon finds that destiny has other plans for him as he encounters a small band of rebels who dare to strike back against the Empire. Was that just lifted straight from a Rebels episode?
Can I just say that this is the magic of weird Wikipedia, that even if it's a shitty, tiny, little Wikipedia article, it always leads to a better article.
It's like 6 Degrees Kevin Bacon, which is the 3rd time we brought up that on our show. It's every time it's like, oh, here's this small article. It leads to this one. Also, this individual that is in the original article. I don't know why, but the picture skeeves me out so much. So much. Well, this has been Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast where we definitely watched Revenge of the Sith this week, the week that we are recording, for sure, definitely. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for sticking with us. Thank you all for loving Columbo so much, apparently. We love y'all very much. Good night.
Not as much as 300 and something fucking people love Columbo, apparently.
Columbo was a big meme last year.
Why?
It's just because it's such an easy thing to write about. Like, every episode plays out in such a very specific way that you can write a Columbo monologue with, like, no effort. That's why it got big.
I think that's just how they made Columbo.
There's like one Columbo and Star Wars diehard that watched this episode. It's just like, I gave them a chance, but now they're talking shit about Star Wars and Columbo? I'm out.
Let's see. What other fandoms can we come for? We came for the Reylo shippers. We've come for the Columbo fans. What else we came for Rule 34 artists.
And then we defended them. Don't worry.
I perhaps should have phrased that better.
Hello, all you beautiful people, and thank you very much for joining us on yet another week of Star Wars Every Week Forever. We upload every Wednesday around noon on various platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, TuneIn, and many others. If you have any friends, companions, people you would like to torture with our presence, feel free to send them our way. You know where to find us. If you would like to interact with the show and the various co-hosts, you can find us quite easily on Twitter at SWEWF. We check there very regularly, so it's easy to get a hold of us. And I hope all of you wonderful people have a glorious rest of your day. Until next we meet, may the Force be with you.